Well, hello and welcome to the Lower Mainland Time Bank webinar. Just want to welcome you to the webinar. What we're doing tonight is doing a brief overview of time banking and a little bit about the Lower Mainland Time Bank, and then open it up to questions and conversation at the end to answer questions that people usually have. And don't hesitate to ask a question because it's probably on somebody else's mind as well. So you can see on my screen here. So my name is Michael Miller. I'm the founder of the Lower Mainland Time Bank. It was actually started as a hobby about 4 years ago. I live in an area where there's 6 high-rises, all within a very close proximity. And I'd found time banking as something that was very interesting to me, and the whole idea of building community and working with alternatives to monetary systems were of interest, and I started it just in my local area amongst the building residents. And things went reasonably well for a little while, and then I just got busy with other things in my life and left the system up for people to use freely with regards to doing exchanges and so on, and have wanted to always get back to it. And this has become a little bit of a push with the CBC radio interview with Edgar Kahn, where there has been literally dozens and dozens and dozens of new members and people requesting information about the Time Bank. And the Time Bank just went through a major renovation with regards to their exchange site. So this is a brand new exchange site, and the old one is gone with all the old offers, and old requests have been retired. So it's a fresh start for the Lower Mainland Time Bank. So I want to welcome you to it and encourage you to ask questions at any point in time, and give us an opportunity to provide the feedback you need to help you be successful with the Time Bank. We had a question here that how many people are online. Well, we had 15 people registered for the meeting. We just have a 7th person attending right now. So we're at 7 right now, and usually within 5 or 10 minutes it will probably pretty close to double. So like I said at the very beginning, people have a tendency to join a few minutes late. So I'm just going to get started, and hopefully you've all had a chance to take a look at the website. If you are a member, you should have received your passwords and your access information to get in it. You'll notice that this is the Lower Mainland Time Bank organizational account that I'm presently logged into. There is one additional tab which is not on yours, which is a control panel for administrators. But other than that, it operates the exact same way on everybody's website, and you can access your messages through here. You list your services. There's also member download information and get a record of your hours. So we'll do a little bit more of a tour with regards to the actual website in a moment. And first of all, I want to do a little bit of a overview of the concepts of time banking by sharing a PowerPoint and then talking through some of the information on the PowerPoint to, again, introduce the idea of what time banking is and how it works, because it is a little bit different than what people are used to, and it really is a different type of attitude about money and about value. And it's an important distinction to make that we are not commercial in any way with regards to monetary exchanges. It is strictly time for time and a way to record the contributions between members. So it's a way to build community, and all of our members can build and share the experiences of getting to know each other in interesting ways by giving a personal gift, something that is your knowledge, that is your skill, that is your talent that you may not get to do enough, and you'd love the opportunity to do it more. And many people have skills and talents and knowledge that they don't really acknowledge because we're so busy doing other things in our lives, and we don't think what we do is that big a deal. And yet to somebody else it's important and it's valuable, and they'd like to know it or experience it themselves. And so it gives us a chance to express who we are in a whole new way, and build relationships with people, to discover things about ourselves and about other people that we didn't know before. So the idea of time banking really is based on 5 core values, and the idea is to transform the way that social services, the way that we support each other in our communities, through either a social program that's out in the community that could use time banking, or just between individual members. So the time banks really supply a critical element of support for different types of community outcomes, and can transform the relationship between neighbors and helping professionals like people who are in supporting industries trying to help the elderly or the disabled or young people or whatever. There's all sorts of ways time banking can be integrated with that. And we can affect some system changes, because we have a tendency in our society to point to the government and say, why doesn't the government do something about that? And really, we are fully empowered and capable of doing many of the community support services and not rely on the government. How did we do things before the government took over? And there's also social justice aspects. And if you heard Edgar Kahn talk on his interview on CBC, he mentioned some of the social justice programs where young people are participating in helping with the justice system in relation to young offenders. So there's all sorts of applications for time banking, and we'll talk a little bit more about the Lower Mainland Time Bank, the way I see it structured right now, and where it can go based on where members want to take it. So the time banking, the first value really is that we all have assets and we all have value. And as I mentioned, we have a tendency to undervalue our own assets and our own skills and our own talents. And those skills and talents usually seem to come easy to us because we do it naturally, or we've spent years getting good at it. And so we don't really value it enough in ourselves. And other people value those things highly. And we have a tendency to enjoy doing what we're good at. So it gives us an opportunity to provide that to another person, as well as feel good about doing it ourselves, because we get to do something we enjoy, and we get to enjoy the value of giving to other people and seeing their appreciation of it. And the idea of time banking is about redefining work, because we've been trained to think in terms of work as being something that you get paid dollars for, and generally speaking, it's something you don't want to do. And the real work of society is beyond any price, and it's generally undervalued by the monetary system and the working environment with jobs and so on. So we're getting back to what the real work is, which is being a connection, community, and helping each other, and not putting a monetary price on it. The reciprocity idea, where helping works better as a two-way street. Again, many of us who are attracted to time banking are volunteer-oriented. We're used to wanting to give to other people, provide value to them, and very often it's a one-way street. The same people volunteering are volunteering all the time, and the same people receiving are receiving all the time. And the problem with that is that volunteers burn out. Volunteers at some point decide that they've given enough, and they really aren't getting as much back out of the contribution as they used to. And on the other side, the people receiving it in effect are being devalued, because by always receiving and having no way to give back, they don't have the opportunity to feel good about the fact that they have value that they can contribute to other people. So the flip side of the volunteering is we need somebody who is receiving our contribution in order for us to be able to contribute. And very often volunteers are not very good at receiving. So one of the wonderful things about time banking is teaching people who are used to giving a lot, teaching them how to receive and feel good about receiving, and know that that's a good thing too, and open the door for people who are used to receiving and not usually having a way to give back. Gives them an opportunity to give back in whatever way they are able to, capable of, and can feel good about, because they get to contribute as well. So the reciprocity as the two-way street is a really big part of what time banking offers. Social networks, we need each other. We have a lot more fun and enjoyment in our lives when we connect with individuals and build relationships and get to know people we didn't know. I've had a wonderful time reading how some of the profiles that people have set up, and seeing the skills and the knowledge and the talents that they're bringing to the time bank. It's very exciting to see some of the things that people do, and knowing that that's going to be available to the group. And I've actually facilitated some connections between people who do unique things, and then I introduce them and say, hey, this person does that unique thing too. You guys should connect. And there's all sorts of opportunities for creating powerful social networks for all sorts of different reasons. And when you need something and you don't know who to turn to, time banking is an opportunity to seek out somebody who's already offered to assist and you know that you're going to be receiving, and you have the opportunity to give back as a member of the Time Bank in some way, not necessarily to that person, because that's what makes time banking so great, is you're getting a credit which you give back to anybody in the system, and it doesn't have to be that particular person. So and the final one is respect. Every human being matters. Unfortunately, again, a lot of our society is structured around the idea of status and other things that have a tendency to devalue people. And everybody has something to contribute. Everybody has some needs, and we have the opportunity to offer respect to everybody at where they're at, and they can give at where they're at. And the neighbor-to-neighbor time bank exchanges involving individuals helping each other really is the foundational place where the Lower Mainland Time Bank is. It's a neighbor-to-neighbor time bank at the moment. There is opportunity to grow it into other types of time banking as a result of individual time bankers wanting to take it to other places. But right now, it's established and getting started as a neighbor-to-neighbor, where it's just people connecting with each other to provide support and services to whomever needs it, and a way to request those support and services as well. So we can look at the other ways of building the community in many ways, the social justice, and a way to create sustainability as the time bank grows. Now, what can the time bank do for me? This is an interesting idea. Is if you've ever taken any sales training, the number one thing that is important to keep in mind with regards to a sales process is that when you're trying to sell to somebody, it's more about what they want than what you want to sell. And because everybody wanting to buy something has in their mind what they want. And that question is, what's in it for me? And if a good salesperson will look for that in somebody and say, I know what this person wants and I'll help them get it. And it's a service-oriented type of selling. And that's perfectly fine if you're serving the true needs. And that's what time banking does. It serves the true needs of the individual, saying, I need this type of help, or I have the ability to provide this type of help. And here's a list of all the different ways that people can help out, and there's many more. There's no shortage of time and talent offers that are available. You can give anything, you can receive anything that people are willing to give. And if somebody's not got an offer up now, that's the whole idea, is put a request out onto the system, and people browsing the request will go, oh, I could do that. I never thought about anybody wanting it. And guess what? You've just made a connection. So this is a video. We won't watch that right now, but there's a number of videos on the website. And what is time banking? Again, neighbor-to-neighbor time bank exchanges is where we're starting. And we really want to develop a network and strengthen our communities like an extended family. You're going to meet people who are like-minded. Time banking attracts certain types of individuals, and you're going to enjoy spending some time with people of like mind and have a tremendously wide and exciting different type of skill base. And that's another video which we won't watch right now. And this is interesting with regards to time banking. This is actually a screenshot off of the Lower Mainland Time Bank website, where I looked at all the different countries that have browsed the Lower Mainland Time Bank website. So there's interest all around the world. It's over, I think it's over 22 countries, because this presentation's old right now. I think it's 36 countries on 6 continents. And I get over 2,000 visitors a month to the Lower Mainland Time Bank. So there's a lot of interest. And this stat was from 2009. But there is still lots of interest. I just checked the stats, and it was just over 2,100 visitors, unique visitors, to the Lower Mainland Time Bank in last month. So there's lots of people looking and interested in the idea of time banking, and there are existing time banks literally around the world. They're quite popular in London, England area, and in Japan and many other countries. So it's not a new concept. It's been around for over 20 years now. The basic concept of the neighbor-to-neighbor time bank exchange is, I help you, you help another, and that person helps another. We all have the opportunity to give, and we all have the opportunity to receive. Now, there are different words and terms that are used depending on which time banking information you're watching. The original time banking concept uses the concept of time dollars. I've avoided the use of time dollars because too many people get hung up on the idea of dollar and being money and having a dollar value to something. So I've, again, in all the paperwork and processes around Lower Mainland Time Bank, I've eliminated time dollars and I'm using time credits. It's exactly the same thing. It just avoids people's mental hang up around the word money and dollars. So it's a tax-exempt form of currency, a way to exchange that anyone can earn by using their time, energy, skills, and talents to help others. And the idea is that you give an hour, 1 hour of service provided to another human being or to the community earns 1 hour time credit. And you can also provide time to the time bank. So if you volunteer to help the time bank, the time you put in, you'll get a credit for it from the time bank. And it's just a simple hour exchange. Doesn't matter if you make $5 an hour in your job or $100 an hour in your job, everybody's hour is worth the same. And that's one of the things that, again, I like about the time bank is it really equals the playing field because we are all of equal value with regards to the value of our time. So how can it work? Well, ultimately it's a social network of trust and caring and creating reciprocity, giving and receiving, everybody giving and receiving, not just some people giving and some people receiving. And it's all done one exchange at a time between individuals. And one of the key concepts of this is the idea of trust. Again, in our world these days, there's a lot of propaganda out there about how scary and frightening the world can be and how we can't trust anybody and everybody wants insurance and everybody wants guarantees and so on and so forth. And I think it's a fairly disempowering perspective that is promoted and keeps people separate from each other. The time bank doesn't have any other than the agreement which is available on the website. It doesn't have any contract with the individuals other than their agreement to do things in an honorable way and do things to the best of their ability, because we just are introducing people to people who are going to help each other. There's no guarantee that it's going to be done perfectly or done professionally. It's just a helping hand. And there's an element of trust associated with being a member and contacting other members. And it'd be really great to get to a place where we don't have to be afraid about contacting somebody because, again, I think that that is extremely overblown in our society. And again, time banking attracts certain types of individuals who are interested in giving and are volunteer oriented and are honorable and honest type of people. It's so rare that I've never heard of an instance of anything happening within a time bank that was caused by somebody who shouldn't be in a time bank being a part of it. So there is an element of trust, and it's a great place to start is giving that trust and knowing that you're in a safe place. You earn time credits by helping other individuals or contributing to the community. Walking the dog, cleaning up the yard, cooking a meal, telephone companionship, reading stories, looking after a child. There's a lot of single parents out there who would love to have somebody who could come and sit with their kids for an hour or two while they went out and did something. So there's kids who need mentoring with their homework and so on. So there's lots of different opportunities. And you spend your time credits by giving help to other members. You can donate to friends, family, and organizations, or even strangers who need help. So if you know somebody who needs some help, they could become a member of the time bank and you could donate time credits to them so they could get the level of support that they need. If they're going to be using a lot of time credits initially, you can give away your time credits to other people. And you can also donate your excess time credits to the time bank, so the time bank can do that if we have other members who require additional support. Actually, Edgar Kahn on that CBC interview mentioned that he received support from somebody through the time bank when he was recovering from his illness, and he's like, as he said, as far as I'm concerned, she's got an unlimited credit with me. So again, it really gives an opportunity to, when you need the extra help, it's there, and people are able to support to make sure that the people who need the extra time credits can get them. And that raises the question of, can you go into debt? It's not like a monetary system. Having a negative balance is not a big deal in a time bank. After all, people have to receive in order to give to others. And whenever you start your time bank membership, and you create your first offer or your first request, then you get 2 hours time credit in order to start trading with. And once you have 3 offers and 3 requests, you get an additional 2 hours credit from the TimeBank in order to encourage and help you to get started in those ways. The TimeBank will grow with the more offers and requests that are posted. So it's your responsibility, if you want to help the TimeBank grow, to make sure that you have as many requests and as many offers as you want and as you can do. Now, each TimeBank sets up their own limits on how far a member's account can go into debt, and it is explained in your handbook. We have a 10 credit debit point where we check on what's happening and who's involved, and if it's a situation where it's perfectly fine to go into debt, it's a health situation where they require different assistance and so on, that's fine. It's a way of just having a check on balance to make sure somebody is not abusing the system. So there are some checks and balances going on. So people who have a history of earning lots of time credits are generally allowed a bigger debt limit. The other thing is that we have the largest problem, as mentioned by Edgar Kahn, of people using their time credits. It's really never a problem of people going into debt. It's always a problem of people having excess time credits, because very often they're not willing to or not interested in receiving, which again, it's a great place to train yourself to learn how to receive. So if you have the excess time credits, you can donate them to a member or the TimeBank. So we're just going to run through a quick neighbor-to-neighbor exchange in 7 short steps to show you how it works. And this is really where we answer a lot of questions for many people. So Anna would like someone to stay with her elderly parent for 1 hour while she does the week's grocery shopping. She goes to the TimeBank Exchange website or calls the TimeBank Exchange coordinator if she doesn't have a computer or she's not computer literate. We don't encourage the direct contact with the TimeBank just because of the overhead involved with that. We want to encourage everybody to do it by computer, but there is the opportunity with support volunteers to help people who aren't on computer to do that type of TimeBank entries for them. So we have the opportunity to volunteer in that way if it's necessary. The Exchange website lists all the offers to help, or coordinator checks to see who can help. And Stan is the member found and the match is made. So can Stan help out that particular day? Because now it's a matter of communication between Anna and Stan, and everything is handled on the website so that they are communicating with each other through the messaging system on the website. And you set it up so that you receive a notice when you receive a message in your email box, and you respond through the messaging system. So it's a private exchange network on the TimeBank, so we're not having to disclose email addresses and so on at this point. So you email or you message back and forth with regards to availability of times and what is going to work for both parties. So when the service has been performed, Stan, who did the service, confirms the completion on the website or hands the form in like a check to the administrator if they're handling it. It describes the service and shows that 1 time credit is being paid by Anna to Stan. So the person who gives the service is the one who logs into their account and then fills out the information on who they are, who they gave the service to, and how many hours, and any notes about it. Stan now has 1 more time credit to spend on getting help from someone in the community, and Anna has 1 less time credit in her TimeBank account. For Anna, it's time to provide a service to earn more time credits. She looks for offers listed on the TimeBank website to see if anyone wants done what she would like to do. And this is an interesting part of it. Do more of what you enjoy and less of what you don't. If you don't like house cleaning, cool. There are people in the TimeBank who will come and clean your house for time credits. So you get to not have to do the house cleaning, which makes you happy. And they usually enjoy house cleaning. I know people who actually enjoy house cleaning. They will come to your house and they will clean it, and they're happy to get their time credits. So don't do what you don't like. Find somebody who does enjoy doing it and then wants to get time credits. So do more of what you enjoy and less of what you don't. Now you can give to somebody else what you enjoy giving. So this is a diagram of the basic flow of what happens, where we start here with Leslie, where she joins the TimeBank, And we're just going to zoom in on these different transactions just to walk through it once. So Leslie joins the TimeBank and she lists the skills that she has and the things that she needs. And she helps Helga with her shopping and earns 2 time credits. And then Leslie spends her time credits by having Michael teach her how to play the guitar. Actually, we have one of the members out actually tonight getting some guitar lessons on this exact thing. And Edgar earns his time credits by pet sitting Michael's parakeet. And Edgar earns another time credit helping Jose with his taxes. Kenny, Oscar, and Sarah are paid by Edgar's nonprofit to circulate petitions for installing bike paths. So this is a community type of project where people can volunteer to put the word out about something by posters or flyers, going down to the local beach and doing a community cleanup. If there's a debris problem there, there's all sorts of different things that can be participatory in the community. Kenny, Oscar, and Sarah spend time credits by attending a community dinner and movie night. So there's an opportunity to have gatherings with people. There's somebody else who's offering to host a meal, like cook a meal for people. There's all sorts of ways to spend your time credits. Deidre earns time credits by watching Stanley and Sarah's children. Lots of opportunities for that. Stanley earns a time credit by taking Deidre and her children to a show. Many people are without transportation and require transportation to go to some basic places, sometimes for fun and sometimes for shopping. I know not having a vehicle and not being right near a shopping center is really hard. If you want to go and do a nice big shop and get lots of heavy groceries, it's so nice to be able to get a ride to the store and get a ride back with those heavy bags of groceries. Stanley spends that time credit by attending a yoga class led by Leslie. So as you can see, the exchanges are going on all over the place with all different people. Leslie spends her time credits having Helga help Rasputin with his reading. And Stanley weeds Helga's garden and earns time credits. And it just goes on and on and on. Everybody doing everything for all different peoples with all different skills and all different ideas. Because everybody has value, skills, knowledge, and can provide value to another person. Valuable work is more than just a job. All forms of assisting others is valuable work. And reciprocity, as you give, so shall you receive. One-way acts of helping become a two-way street where you need me because we need each other. And everybody is honored. Social networks increase the quality of life and create a strong community. So some of the things that are success indicators for startup time banks is a strong sense of purpose and commitment to time banking's core values. And you'll find that people who are attracted to the time banks share those core values. Champions who provide passion, energy, support, and resources for successful startup. There's always some people out there in the world who are great networkers, who love to gather people and spread the word. And there are other people who are great organizers. And there are other people who are great entertainers, actually doing the events and so on. And this is part of the whole idea, is having a leadership team that's well informed on the principles and practices and brings a variety of the skills that are necessary to run an organization. And the idea is keep the organization small, but the membership as big as possible. TimeBank membership that includes individuals, groups, and local organizations. Right now, Lower Mainland Time Bank is based on individuals, and as those individuals see how time banking can fit into their groups that they're a part of or local organizations that they know would benefit from it, the Lower Mainland Time Bank can grow to include those and integrate those people, groups, and organizations into the Time Bank. So early support at multiple levels within the host organization and or the community are important. And a strong plan that covers actions, resources, and intended achievements. So enthusiastic, effective leadership for the Time Bank with a team approach that actively nurtures and supports many leaders in different roles. So when I started this as a hobby, as I mentioned earlier, it was just me, and it's always been just me. So I'm hoping at this particular point with the restart that there's enough people that are interested in coming into a leadership role that the Time Bank can really establish itself and become a force in the community. So a full sense of ownership by TimeBank members including pitching in to help with the infrastructure that builds over time. And that's all members, and everybody's going to be at a different place and a different level, and everybody can contribute in their own way. You may not be a full volunteer in the TimeBank to help it run, but you can do things by spreading the word or passing out flyers in your neighborhood or just talking to your friends about it. That's helping the TimeBank. That's making a contribution. So time banking, it's all about honoring everybody, exchanging time and talent, building community connections, and neighbors become friends and energize their community. That's the ultimate focus for it, is to be able to do all of those things, and having a core base of people with those shared values is really the way things get started and on the right track to maintain those values as we grow as well. So I'm going to just take a couple of questions here and answer any questions that you do have. I've got a couple typed in here I'm going to answer. If you have a question you'd like to type into the box, your question box, just type that in now while I'm answering these. And if you'd like to click on the hand image on your control panel button, then I'll be able to unmute your phone if you want to unmute. So I have a question here. How do I set up to offer my service? We will run through that very quickly in the next couple of minutes with regards to utilizing the TimeBanking website for that, and I'll show you that in a minute. How many members are there in the TimeBank? The membership right now, I believe, is over 100 members. I haven't looked at the total number. There was a large number who came in because there was over 50 new members just in the past week. And ultimately, it's largely going to be the 50 members which came in fresh and new and excited that are going to be the driving force about moving the TimeBank forward. The TimeBank members who came in previously may or may not want to continue with it because it didn't go anywhere for a while. So we're looking at, like I said, a fresh start with fresh faces. There are over 140 people on our email list that have requested to be updated on email, and I believe that, like I said, we're over 100 members right now. So as we have more activity on the website and we have more opportunity for people to get involved because we have more meetings, we have potlucks, or we do whatever we do in terms of TimeBank events, that will attract the existing members to become more active and also attract other community members. So we could grow fairly quickly just by spreading the word and getting the offers and the requests onto the website. What can you do to volunteer? There's lots of opportunities to volunteer, and what I'm going to be doing is I've had a number of requests from people to volunteer. I'm going to be, during this weekend, contacting everybody who has offered to volunteer and set up a separate meeting online where we can talk about it, and I can go through the volunteering opportunities to help the TimeBank. And so if you have an interest in volunteering, send an email to the TimeBank or to my account, either one, and I will include you in that list, inviting you to having a meeting with the people who are interested in volunteering. And we'll go over all the different ways you can do that. We have a question here. How can I set up a TimeBank on Central Vancouver Island? There is many times that I have had requests for how to set up a TimeBank, and I've sent out information literally all across Canada to people with regards to how to set up a TimeBank. So if you have an inquiry about that, send me an email at michael@lmtimebank.org, and I will send you the information that I have with regards to setting up a TimeBank and some recommendations with regards to that. I've had a lot of inquiries from the island, and I believe there's actually one on the island in Souk. There is, like I said, lots of interest on the island, and just send me an email and I'll send you some information on that. Thank you for your enthusiasm. How do you manage an exchange that is one-to-many, such as a yoga class, one teacher, many students? Good question. Generally speaking, it's going to be handled as a 1 hour contribution for the 1 hour of time from the individual students. And it's actually been a while since I've considered that particular scenario, so I will check on that. But it is an hour that that individual is receiving, whether you happen to be one of 2 or one of 5 or one of 10. that person giving it is giving 1 hour of their time, and it does raise an interesting question. So I will check on that in order to answer that particular question. It might seem a little bit unfair if they have 10 students and that person gets 10 hours, etc. Like I said, it's been a while since I've thought of that one, so I will investigate that and get back to you on that one. Any other questions right now before I get into walking through the website? No? Okay. We're going to just do a quick run through on the website so that you have an idea of how to operate the website. It's fairly standard in the way that it works. You can search the entire website with a search bar up here. The contact us will get you an email where I will receive the emails and be able to answer, and signing out of your account. I'm logged in right now in the TimeBank website organizational right now. There's your logout button. These upcoming events and featured events and announcements do not show up for the non-members. They are only for members where you will see these events. And this will list your coordinators and recent members who have signed up. This information here is going to be fairly standard for a while anyways, and it will be updated like with the webinar notice and so on. And anybody who's a non-member will see this, and they'll have an opportunity to join an info webinar in the future. So if you have any events of interest to people, for instance, there is one, let's just look at the offers here for a moment. There was an offer from a gentleman with regards to a workshop. Parenting, parent seminars and coaching. Okay. Now, there's a few things I'm going to talk about, but for instance, this is inviting people to a workshop, and that could be listed as a upcoming event because it is an offer for people attending to exchange hours in order to attend. And if you have a workshop or you have something that you're offering to TimeBank members, if you send us an informational email and request to be put into an upcoming event, anything that's being offered as a workshop class, etc., for members only, or for members to exchange their hours for, will get listed on the upcoming events. And the announcements are generally going to be for the TimeBank. So let's just go into let's see, my account and my services. My services will list what I'm offering, and in this particular case the TimeBank isn't offering anything other than being a TimeBank, but there are some requests being made, and these are the outdated expired service ads from the old website. So you can view all of your offers and your requests in this one place, and if you want to post an ad, you want to go into the post a service ad under give and receive. So you're offering a service, you're advertising a service, and it's post a service ad. You will go here, these are some basic tips. It's important to read the tips. The tips are very helpful, that's why they're there. They will help guide you to make a good ad that will serve the purpose. The first thing is to consider whether it's an offer or a request. So are you offering to do a service for somebody, or are you requesting a service to be done? Let's do it as an offer right now. These are the global categories, and if you click on the little green arrow, they will drop down to subcategories. And what I'm suggesting at the moment, as the TimeBank is smaller, is to select a single service category that you will list under. If you list under multiple categories, you'll end up seeing 3 or 4 or 5 listings for the exact same thing. If you check out all offers at one time, you'll see it multiple times. So because I think the first place people are going to go is to all offers, because there's not a lot to see right now, it's not very efficient to see the same offer over and over and over. So select one category for the moment, and when we grow to hundreds of offers, it's going to make it easier to search by category, and then subcategories would be beneficial as well. So you pick the category. Let's say it's transportation errors under shopping, and it's we just type in. And this is another one for elderly people or people who have trouble getting around, or even kids who don't have a vehicle, etc. Anybody who doesn't have a vehicle. Drive you to the store. All right. And this is another thing is you can plan it. So you can say basically, well, I'm going to store on Tuesday to do shopping. Let's go together. And so you're not sitting around waiting for them to shop, you're doing your shopping too, and you've just arranged to go with somebody. And you type in your offer into the text box here. You have the opportunity to do bolding on information so that it's more visible. You can do point form and you can do numbered list, etc. These, again, are all formatting to make it a little easier to read. If you want to put a link into something to see a photograph, for instance, typing is my third language. So you click on this little guy here, and it opens up a window, usually more fully than that. There it is. And this will allow you to create a link. By typing the link in here, not including the HTTP, this now will be a link. So if you have something that you want to show somebody, a photograph, an image, take them to a website, you can do that in your ad, and they can click right on it from your ad. If you no longer want the link, you can unlink it. So there are other features here with regards to spell checking and so on. Here's some additional tips with regards to creating your ad. And then this is where you identify the times that you want to do the service or are willing to do the service or need the service done, etc. Select all or select none, and you can select all morning or all afternoon, or you can do just different segments of time like that. And pick an expiration date. If it's an ongoing thing, you can set it way off in the future, but if it's only for next week, then have it expire next week so it's no longer on the board after you have no longer been needing it. So you can have it automatically expire when you no longer need it. And this lists who it is offered by. You can preview it and see what the ad looks like. And oh, look, I got a warning. Too short, need at least 10 words. Okay, we'll do that with 10 words. There we go, 10 words. Oops, just went to save, we won't look at the preview. Oh, look at that, warnings, expiration field is required. See, if you don't do everything right, you get these warnings and it'll walk you through it. So let's see, it expires 25th. And it obviously needs a time, let's say 8 p.m. Let's see if we finished it off there. So it's a little bit of a learn as you go, and if you're not doing something right, it'll tell you. So there it is. It's an offer. These are the times that the offer is being made, and the category it's in, etc. So you get to review all the various things. Now if we go into view all offers, we will now see this listed here. Drive you to the store by the Lower Mainland TimeBank. And you can see the other offers by other people here in their categories, etc. If in fact I have done this, I can either record the transaction from the offer itself, which I'll show you how to do right now, or when you do the transaction, you can do it from inside your account as well. So you just click on the transportation. It was errands and shopping. The date the service was performed, so we performed it today, and who received it. Let's say that I received it. There's a number of Michaels that are listed. There I am. Okay, and it was a short drive to the store, so we're only going to do 15 minutes. Or do quarter hour. There we go. Let's do that, quarter hour. All right. So if you have less than a full hour, there's your criteria, and if you have a 1 hour, then you do that, etc. So that'd be an hour and a quarter. So let's say that was to do drive to store. Record the exchange, and it now tells you in your account. This is my the account for the TimeBank here, and this is what you'll see on most people's profiles. A little bit of information about them. The private contact info is not available to other members. This is only seen in your own account. Let's see, current requests that are posted by this person, expired ads, and down at the bottom is my history of activities. So this is a list of everybody that the TimeBank is exchanged with, and these people here have received their first 2-hour credits for having their new member postings, and this is the most recent one we just did. And here's the balance for the TimeBank, which is a negative at this particular point in time, and that's all good and well as we're in startup mode. And That's basically how you create an ad. Whether an offer or request, it's pretty much the same thing. And how you get to record and exchange, you can also do this by clicking on the record and exchange. There's a number of ways to get to this. Always search in the menus here. And there's a tip sheet on how to post, which gives you some guidelines. And as we learn more about this, we're going to continue to add more about posting, because this is a new system for me as well. They just changed this over last month, so I'm still learning how everything works and updating everything. So your messages, for instance, we've had a number of people communicating with the TimeBank. You'll get a full listing of everybody you've communicated with, and if you click on it, you'll actually go to a record of the communications and the messages that you sent to that person. So you have a complete history of everybody you communicated at every point in time with regards to it. The member downloads, I please encourage, let me say that again, please encourage you to go to the member downloads. There is a member's manual that I put together which gives the basics, and all these links now work. There's a quick start guide for using this particular website. If you like web guides, it's a good thing to review. This is a offers and requests sheet. It's a way to help trigger your mind to go, oh, I could do that, or oh, I want that. And that's really what it takes, is to spend the time to think about what you want, what you're willing to give. And it's not tough, but it's an interesting process to find out that we're a little bit resistant to asking for help. There is an application form for people who are not online, where they would fill out an application form and then submit it to TimeBank, and an administrator would enter the information for them. And there's also a permission form for minors. So if you have somebody who's underage, they do need a guardian to sign for them, and that's what that is about there. There is member training links that are on the website with regards to the basic vision of the TimeBank. And this is the members agreement. So everybody should visit the members agreement and see what is it you're agreeing to as a member of the TimeBank. And these are some training videos which are helpful with regards to using the website, and I think listening to and watching Edgar Kahn speak is extremely valuable to help you understand time banking. There's some promotional flyers that I created for the TimeBank that you can download, print out, and post in your neighborhood. And there's an intro handout as well for that. I have some other promotional materials that I produced. I have business cards, I have some signs, I have some other things that are all ready to go for different purposes. So if anybody wants any promotional materials, they are available, and you can order them as well if you want to do that. If you want to check your hours and your balance, you just click on that and it'll show you the same thing we just looked at with regards to how much your credits are and debits that you've had. And this tab here will be updated because we're presently on the webinar, which is here. It'll be updated to the next webinar. I believe Wednesday of next week is the date for the next webinar, so you'll see that one. And we're going to be posting this as a recording online so people can hear the presentation and get a walkthrough of the website without having to be on a webinar, because not everybody can make it. And hey, it's all about minimizing the amount of time that we spend doing things and making it as convenient as possible for people to connect and get the information that they do need. I built this website to basically take what I learned about time banking when I was doing the research into it and try and simplify it and break it down into what I thought were the common pieces of information people needed to have and answer the basic questions that people had. It's recently been updated with information to the, you can actually go and listen to the the interview with Edgar Kahn again. And then these videos here have been added. Here's a training video on the website we were just on. And there's a lot of information on here that I encourage you to make sure that you reviewed it. And as I mentioned, one that I really want you to review is, as a member, how the membership works. And there is an invitation for a membership donation. I've never actually implemented an invitation. It is totally voluntary, always will be. But I encourage people, after they've had an opportunity to experience the TimeBank and are getting value out of it, to make a contribution to help pay for the costs of running the TimeBank. And we also invite business members to donate or get business memberships as we grow into the community. I have an entire process for involving businesses on a bigger scale as we grow into that. But this is the idea that I really want you to consider, is ways to earn time credits by helping the time bank. There's a list of them here, and reviewing the member agreements right down here. The things that you agree to as a member to do. And again, it's about honor and integrity and giving people the time and the space to volunteer, not assuming that they're going to be necessarily be bringing a commercial professional level to what they're volunteering to help you do with. It's a neighbor helping a neighbor situation, and it's not the same as hiring a professional to do it for you. So there's a number of things here for you to review, and like I said, I really encourage you to make sure that you have reviewed it so you become as knowledgeable about the time bank as possible. David, you really want to know, eh? Okay, there's 9 online right now on the webinar. Do you have a small team of face-to-face people that have been working with you and understand time banking? I think I mentioned that a little bit earlier. The time bank right now, in terms of administration, is me, myself, and I, so it's just the 3 of us. And everybody who's offered, I've had a number of people offer in the past week. We'll be meeting in the next few days, and I'll be contacting people over the weekend in order to arrange that. So we're going to be having some face-to-face time with member volunteers in order to make it all work. What happened to cause a sudden surge in interest? I just happened to find this on my own. The sudden surge was what's listed here on the homepage of the Time Bank, which is this interview here. It was Edgar Kahn, this gentleman here. He was interviewed on the CBC. And apparently people listened to the CBC because literally had, like I said, over 50 brand new members sign up, right away, basically within a week, and tons of new people asking about it from across Canada, Toronto, Nova Scotia, the island, the interior, Calgary. So there was a lot of interest by that. And it definitely shows that it's just about getting the word out. People are hungry for this type of process and this type of opportunity. And once they know about it and they get a chance to check it out, there's a very good chance that they'll be interested in joining. So there's no shortage of interest, and people are very interested in the idea and the concepts behind it. If you are part of any type of organization that does volunteering or is environmentally minded or is green oriented or community minded or biking or save anything type of idea, those people are going to be attracted to time banking. And we literally could grow very, very quickly by just getting the word out to those types of groups and those types of individuals, because we share common interests and have common goals with regards to making the world a better place and working with each other instead of living in fear and fighting with everybody. So there's lots of opportunity, and like I said, it's been a pet project of mine for a long time, and I would just love to see it grow. One of my visions with it is, as I said, there's different types of time banks, and one of the time banks is the first one we're starting with, which is the Neighbour-To-Neighbour, which is just people connecting with people. But it can be, those people can be part of a group, which the group then becomes a member of the time bank, the organization as well as the members. And the organization can give out time credits to people who contribute to that organization, and so on. So an organization can utilize the time bank to help reward their volunteers and to help build community in their local area with their people using the time banking process. And I see the time bank, most people are familiar with Craigslist, and Craigslist is a member-to-member connecting website. They do not monitor, they do not interfere with, they do not organize. It's a self-organizing group of people who go there to find something they need or something that they want to sell. And the Neighbour-to-Neighbour time bank with the Lower Mainland time bank can be that same type of thing, where anybody in the Lower Mainland can join in and have access to people anywhere in the Lower Mainland for what it is that they need or are willing to give. And then taking it to the next step, which is actually having a neighborhood. The initial idea behind the Time Bank was to revitalize poverty-stricken neighborhoods in Washington, where there was lots of people who had no jobs, but they had time, and they felt devalued because they couldn't get a job. So what could they do? And when you feel devalued and you've got nothing to do, people have a tendency to get into trouble. So Edgar Kahn came up with the idea that if we give the community a reason to get involved and a reward for being involved, which is recognition, and turn it into, you don't have money, but you have time, and you can turn that time into something of value to exchange with other people. And it turned around communities because people now had the opportunity to quote unquote have a job, get rewarded for it emotionally and with hours, and they were more willing to volunteer and participate and so on. So it wasn't even necessarily the volunteer-minded that time banking was started with. It was started with people who had time and no money, and there was a way of bringing them back into the system and valuing them as people and contributions. So there's lots of exciting opportunity with this that we can go with, but right now we're going for the larger open model, and as groups become involved, those groups will have their own neighborhoods. You'll notice in the Time Bank there is an area for every section, every neighborhood in Vancouver. Like Killarney is an area, and Carsdale is an area. Each one of those neighborhoods has a neighborhood section within the listing area. So if you wanted to go online and search for an offer, you could search just in your particular neighborhood and find people who are close by, or you could expand it to other areas. So it gives the opportunity to build the neighborhood time banks while being part of a larger time bank and have access to everybody in the time bank. Here's a comment. Thank you for answering my questions. Persistence alone is omnipotent. Yes, persistence is a wonderful thing. Yes, Michael, I do like to know how many of us are on this. Okay. Well, there's 10 now, okay? So we're growing. As I said, there was 15, and normally on webinars it's about 40 to 60% of people who register actually show up. And this particular webinar system has the capacity to have 1,000 people online at the same time. So we have room to grow, and what I look forward to is having the occasional webinar, which is an information webinar for new people, a training webinar for new members, and then meeting webinars for administrators, staff members in whatever location they happen to be in. And the great thing about the webinar is it is and can be fully interactive. By unmuting people's microphones, they can communicate back and forth. We can share documents on the screen and so on, and it saves so much time not having to drive across town and find a place to meet, which was actually one of the big problems I had in the beginning, was actually having a physical location to get together and meet with people. So if any of you know of any locations where we can meet, and the object is meet for free, because literally there is no funding for the Time Bank at the moment. So if there is a meeting room that we could use and we can have those in-person meetings, that would be wonderful. It's also a great way in your own neighborhood to promote a meeting for the Time Bank in a local meeting room in your neighborhood and bring your people together in person. That is one of the big ways of growing the Time Bank, is to promote it in your neighborhood, have a meeting place within the neighborhood. Could be somebody's living room, somebody's basement, it could be a community center meeting room, and bring people together and introduce them to the idea, and go from there and find the people in your neighborhood who want to come together as local leaders to help grow the Time Bank in your particular neighborhood. There's lots of opportunity and lots of different ways that we can go with this. Oh, or let's see. Wow, time flies. It's 8:02. Well, I had the scheduled time for 7 to 8. I really like to respect the starting time and the ending time. If anybody has any final questions, I think that's a pretty good overview for now. Watch your email for further communication with regards to further webinars and any meetings that are coming up. Also, please make sure that you log into your members website and start doing your offers and requests, and start looking at the offers and requests here. There are some pretty cool offers on here, and there is the opportunity. This lady here, she wants somebody to come and help her replace a linoleum floor. There's all sorts of things you can do, and I know that she's already had 2 people connect with her on that. So go for it. Whatever you can think of as a request and as an offer, put it out there. You don't ask, you can't receive, and you don't offer, and you can't give. So do what you can to make it all work for you by participating, by making your offers and requests. Don't forget, the TimeBank looks and is a growing community if you're posting your offers and requests and looking for other people's in order to exchange with. So I encourage you to do so. All right, well, we'll look forward to connecting with you over time, and thank you very much for joining tonight's webinar, and have a great upcoming weekend. Take care.